Hello there, YouTube. No long time no see. And now I know you're reading the title of this video and saying, "What? This isn't the Nick I knew. Where'd he go? Where'd the young 12-year-old, slightly fat 12-year-old boy run off to?" Well, I tell you, he grew up, and now he's into different things. Well, really, I was into acting and D&D, that type of thing back then too. I just didn't get to play it ever. But now I have a group. This video is mostly for them, but don't worry, if you're not part of that group, you can watch too. I do not discriminate. So, let's get to it. Tier list time, baby. Okay, so we're going to start with the classes in alphabetical order. Starting with, allow me to explain myself. This is a tier list. Everyone knows what a tier list is nowadays. Ranking from S, A, B, and F. Why? Because there's 12 classes, not including Blood Hunter. So that's at least 3 to each row. I don't know, we'll see how this goes. I didn't write a script. I'm going to purely review the classes as written and using my own experience as a player and a DM, bring up what I think about the class. It's mostly my personal opinion, but I feel as though it needs to be shared. So, and if you aren't interested in D&D, you could watch to know more about me, or you could just go and watch something else. It doesn't bother me either way. However, I will say, if you are not new to D&D and it's something you're thinking about, this is also a good video for beginners to kind of understand what all the classes are about. I'll even explain some general rules too. So, without further ado, let's begin with the Artificer from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Kind of weird that to start with a book that is it's not, the player's handbook, but it is the only class in 5th edition not introduced in the player's handbook. Again, Blood Hunter is not it is an official class in the sense that it was a partnership with Matt Mercer and Critical Role, but it's still homebrew. It's still homebrew. It might actually be included in that new book that came out, but who the fuck's gonna read that? I'm not. So, we start with the Artificer. Ooh, look at it. Ooh, gun. Ooh, spooky lady on train. Ooh, Drow are scary. Anyways, a little gnome. That's a Eldritch Cannon. As from the Artillerist subclass, which we will get into a minute. Oh, and I should go over the criteria I have here on this paper. So I'm considering the combat roles combat / role versatility, tank, support, that kind of thing, as well as the flavor and RP potential. How much can I modify the subclass to fit what I want or how much can I modify the class to fit what I want without it being completely different? Or changing fundamentals of it without just straight up homebrewing. Stuff like saying you cast firebolt by pulling a flintlock pistol out of thin air, magically conjuring it, and pulling the trigger to fire the firebolt as a cantrip. Again, that can fit any class, right? And it doesn't change how the spell works, just flavor, right? And that's in the player's handbook, as a matter of fact. That you can just do that for spells. You can just flavor it however you want, as long as you don't, like, say you need a material component, as long as you don't add shit to change how the spell works, you're good. That's why I said you magically conjure a flintlock pistol as opposed to needing one to instead of like pulling one out of your pocket, But speaking of flintlock pistols, let's go over quickly the proficiencies and starting equipment you get. Because I am actually going to consider that, even though I don't have it on my paper. Let's look here. Hit dice, 1d8. That's pretty average. Hit points at first level. You would not understand how easy that is to forget. I play with people who have been playing for years. Multiples. More than 3. And they don't fucking know. They forget. It's crazy. You know who I'm talking about. You know which one you are. Anyways. So armor, light, medium, shields, really freaking good. Like, you do not know how good half plate and a shield is. If you have a +2 to dex and you have half plate and a shield, you might as well have full plate. And it's a less strength requirement too. Granted, it would cost more to get, but if your DM's being nice and letting you start off with pretty much whatever non-magical equipment you want, it's really good to have those proficiencies. And even if you're just playing in a long-term campaign, it's more likely you will get it at some point if you survive long enough. So, okay, 15 plus 2 is the AC of half plate. 15 plus 2 from dex. 17 plus 2 from shield. It's 19. And then if you, they do not have, anywhere on here, they do not have, fighting styles, like from the fighter subclass. We'll get into those later, but one of them allows you to add a +1 bonus to your AC while wearing armor. Fucking rad. Which would bring that 19 to a 20, which would be better than full plate with that. I mean, if you had full plate and a shield, it would be 21. So, I mean, that would be better. But if you don't have a shield, you have +2 to your dex, and you have that fighting style. Half plate's better. So that'd be, no, never mind. It'd be the same as full plate. It's still really good. If you have the medium armor master feat, which allows you to add +3 instead of +2, then it is better. Just straight up better than full plate if you have the right setup, right? So, oh yeah, and then they get, 2 simple weapons of your choice. That's cool. Your choice is studded leather, armor, or scale mail. Studded leather. It's the only class in basic, normal, not Matt Mercer homebrew D&D that lets you start with studded leather. That is really important for multi-classing, which I will get to when I talk about multi-classing. Thieves' Tools and a Dungeoneer's Pack. Thieves' Tools, really good. You got a locked chest. Pick it. You got a locked chest, no key, pick it. You stuck in a jail cell, but they didn't take your equipment, pick it. Alright, doesn't fucking matter. Pick that lock. Alright, and you can do more. Disarm traps. Huh? You afraid you gonna walk to that dungeon and find a trap? Don't worry, you got Thieves' Tools and a good stealth check and perception, the alert feat, you'll be fine. Alright, don't worry about that, sweetheart. I got you, baby girl. Don't worry about it. So, so we got over the equipment, right? Crossbow, 20 bolts. Proficiencies, yeah, they get simple weapons. However, right here, the secrets of gunpowder weapons have been discovered in various corners of the D&D multiverse. By the way, they're going to just make them straight up simple, and they're just going to make them martial range weapons in one D&D, which is awesome. If your Dungeon Master uses the rules on firearms in the Dungeon's Master Guide and your Artificer has been exposed to the operations of such weapons, your Artificer is proficient with them. Notice the wording. Has been exposed to the operation. Not to how the guns work, the operation, you know. It's obvious what it's intended to as, like how it works and what you fucking do this and it go and it makes spark and it go yeah, but it's not necessary to do that, you know? I mean, it's cool. You ain't gotta do it though, right? Just be exposed to it. Hold a firearm. You are exposed to how it works. Like, that's all you have to do. Take one apart, even if you want to get more nitty gritty into it, and then you're just proficient. That's awesome. That's awesome. If you just, or even if they exist in your world and be something that you could just find in a shop, you're proficient in it. Yeah, like, that is so good. That is so good. Specifically from the DM's guide, though, which sounds bad at first, but when you see the guns in the DM's guide, you go, oh, well, I don't know. Renaissance firearms, D10 for a pistol, D12 for a full musket, and of course they follow the same rules of +1, +2, +3, and all that. The way I'm getting sidetracked, but there's another video on magic items. Anyways, combat and role versatility. Well, before I go into that, I should go into what is an artificer. They make magic items and they have spells. They're intelligence based and primarily dex based. Every class is con based, but primarily intelligence and dex based, right? Intelligence for the spells, dex for the AC, and possibly attacks depending on what artificer you are. Like non-magic attacks, no spells. I mean, they get a pretty good spell list. Long list of cantrips. Long list. Absorb elements. That's a good first level spell. Like that. Blink at for third level? Dang. That's good. Oh, baby, that's good. There's one time, a friend from high school, Troy Wade, he casted Blink. He was a cleric, but he casted Blink and managed to escape the grasp of the big bad evil guy with one spell. I mean, the dude saw him vanish and then just like gave up. By the way, Preston, Jake wouldn't have given up. But it was too late, you had already done it, and I didn't want to mess with your vision. But that was mine. He wouldn't have gave up. He would have, like, dude's not a dumbass. He would have just waited. It's like, oh, I know this. This is Blink. I'm going to hold my action to, I don't know, cast Magic Missile or something. Horde Wilting. Whoever's Horde Wilting, just like, aha! Get his ass. You know, but that's me. But yeah, you know, they mainly focus with, oh yeah, and they can create magic items. It's not really a role versatility thing, but they are the only class that can make magic items. Well, okay, technically they're not. Wizards can make scrolls. There's not, like, super concrete rules, though, as far as I'm aware. But they can make scrolls. It might actually be in the DM's guide, in the magic items section, under scrolls. But, yeah, they can make magic items. But guess what? I mean, yeah, wizard can make, like, a +2 great sword for like one casting of a spell. They make a +3 great sword, but then that's it. Like, you ain't really do much. It's concentration. Magic weapon. It's concentration. So it doesn't last too long. So unparalleled. But these artificers can make them permanent Well, for as long as they live. Except with the 11th feature spell storing item. Let me read it out to you. You can now store a spell in an object. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can touch one simple or martial weapon or one item that you can use as a spellcasting focus, and you store a spell in it. A little limited. One item you can use as a spellcasting focus. There's like arcane armor for armorers. Oh yeah, the different subclasses have different ones, except the battlesmith and alchemist, which are only artisan tools. Hey, you can use any artisan tool. You don't even gotta be proficient in it, right? You just use it. At least, let me double check that. Okay, something exciting I just learned from reading. You'll find out in a second when I go to power, overall power. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, they've got some good stuff. They got armor. Okay, subclasses armor. They're Tony Stark, artillerist, the engineer from TF2, alchemist, that one song from Blue Oyster Cult's latest album, battlesmith. It's like the engineer from TF2, but if you're a small size creep, but it's actually nothing like it. You make a robot, and you can fight with it. It's pretty cool. Oh yeah, it's a medium-sized creature too, which means by the rules of mounted combat, if you are a goblin artificer, you can ride it. Bruh. Legit. Your fucking robot be looking at you like, hey man, we're going into battle. I need to ride you. You're my protector after all. Okay, that's more of a roleplay thing, but so combat versatility. Artificers do have some healing spells. They got cure wounds. They've got cure wounds. They've got purified food and drink. It's not really a healing spell, but it's a good support spell for, you know, anyone who's paranoid about getting poisoned. Identify, specifically as a ritual. Specifically, doesn't consume a spell slot, but you can't use a spell slot to cast it, and it's going to add an extra hour to the spell casting time, so 1 hour and 6 seconds. Detect magic also has a ritual. Cleric can just go up, detect magic, like a wizard, detect magic, sorcerer, detect magic, 6 seconds, like that, it's done. Like, Featherfall, that's a good support spell. Everyone's falling, save them, as long as your party isn't above 6 players. As long as you don't have a critical role size party, Featherfall is an amazing spell. If you do have a critical role size party, you're going to need 2 of them. Or at least like one guy who can cast it in a scroll. So a wizard who made a scroll. Not too sure what snare is. I think it's like a trap someplace. Aid, that's pretty good. So yeah, they have some lesser restoration. They do have support spells. And with their ability to create magic items and even replicate some, like plus weapons, plus armor, and go up to +2 armor, and spell storing item, which they do get the spell magic weapon, if my mind serves me right. Do you remember, is that 3rd level? Oh, in a second. Oh, yeah. second level spell, magic weapon. They do get it, which means at 11th level, they can store it in an item. They can make a weapon that is no concentration. Spell storing it. Well, you don't have to concentrate on it. Your teammate can concentrate on it. Okay, so here's what it says. And you store a spell in it, choosing a first or second level spell from your artificer spell list that requires one action to cast. You needn't have it prepared. That means even if you don't put, because these are all spells you know, you're just not all prepared. This says you needn't have it prepared. So even if you don't have magic weapon in your prepared spell list on your sheet, you can still put it in an item. Gives it a +1 bonus, +2 if you cast it at a certain level, yada yada. It does say a second level spell. Does not say you can't upcast it. Does not say you can't put a 5th level, second level spell. It doesn't specify that. And so general rule, it's a-okay. You can put a 5th level magic weapon in it. Now, this is important because pretty much 90% of the class's support role comes from their ability to create magic items. Magic weapon being one of the spells that can do that with. So, real quick, got to find the magic weapon description. Just give me a moment. Okay, I'm almost there. How many spells can start with M? Huh? Magic weapon. You touch a non-magical weapon until the spell ends. The weapon becomes a magic weapon with a +1 bonus to attack rolls and damage rolls. When you cast a spell using a 4th level or higher, the bonus... Okay, so you can't make it +3 because you don't have 6th level spell slots unless you multi-class in a wizard or any other spellcasting class in which you could get higher level spells. I think I would have to double check the multi-classing rules. That could be wrong. Either way, we're not... This isn't a multi-classing section, right? This is just versatility. So, yes, you can make... And you can't have more than one infusion, artificer infusion. That's how they normally make magic weapons and items. But you can store that in a weapon. So, I mean, fucking awesome, right? Choosing a 1st or 2nd level spell. Okay, what I find weird is that it doesn't say whether or not other creatures can use it. Oh, it's on the next page. While holding the object, a creature can take an action to produce the spell's effect from it, using your spellcasting ability modifier. If the spell requires concentration, the creature must concentrate on it. Not you, the creature. Give this to your barbarian. They will be so happy. But before their rage, they just activate it with the action. And then they can rage, and then congratulate. Well, no, because it can't concentrate on spells. Give it to your fighter. Oh, they would love it. Oh, the barbarian already gets a +2 bonus to his damage rolls from his rage. Give the rogue, give anyone else but the barbarian a magic weapon storing greatsword. The spell stays in the object until it's been used a number of times equal to twice your intelligence modifier. Dog. Put lesser restoration in there and you got 3 castings of it. You have 3 castings of lesser restoration you can use at any moment without expending a spell slot. Huge. Huge. No one does this. Guaranteed. No one's done this. Not a soul. But now you bet your sweet ass I'm gonna try it. Maybe. I don't know. My party's gonna see this, so I might not, guys. I might not. Probably will, but I might not. If I make an artificer, I get to 11th level. I might. Long rest. I might. I'll just magic weapon up the party's martial character. Be like, all right, here you go, champ. Have at it. I don't remember if restoration restores hit points. That's not important. What's important is it can cure poison, disease, and stitch your leg back together. Or maybe that's greater restoration. Anyways, I mean, it's good. Replicate magic item. They can replicate prosthetic limbs. At least according to D&D Beyond, which most people use as opposed to pen and paper. So, hey, there you go. Support item right there. Brother loses an arm, you won't have greater restoration? No one does? Slap on a prosthetic, baby. Just one long rest. That's all you need, because none of them... It does say you need the materials, right? But, like, what's the material for a prosthetic limb anyways? Depending on the fantasy source. Could be all metal, could be wood. Who cares? Really good support. Tankiness. Subclass dependent. Armorer. Magic armor. That's good. If you have the infiltrator armor set and you're using light armor, or you have like medium armor master and you use like half plate or something, then you have advantage on your stealth rolls. So I mean, they're good at stealth too. And be sneaky and tanky. And battlesmith, not quite. And oh yeah, any class that has healing spells they can use on themselves, which adds to their tankiness. Goated. That being said, I mean, they're not super amazing tanks, right? Because they only have that D8 hit dice. Do they have false life? They do have false life. You can put that in a spell storing item. And you just, when I run out of temp hit points, I'll just tap the dagger on my belt and false life. No spell slot required. I mean, that's good. You give that to your barbarian. Right before they enter rage, action, false life, because you don't concentrate on it. Action, false life, rage, there you go. But that's more in support. They're actually really good supports. Amazing supports. You just have to play it as one. Offensive-wise, I mean, they're good at that too, but I think the class mostly shines at support. How are they good at offense? Artillerist, D8, do your cantrips. I think it's just cantrips. Could be wrong. Oh yeah, alchemist. Full on. The alchemist subclass is just support. Restorative agents. Whenever a creature drinks your experimental elixir, that's the potions you create, alchemist. Gains temporary hit points equal to 2d8 plus your intelligence. So 10 hit points, plus the 2d4 restoring of hit points. Oh, it's if you have healing. If you have swiftness and the speed increases by 10 feet for an hour, they still get it. Like, that is so good. And you can cast lesser restoration without expending a spell slot and without preparing the spell. Provide you use the alchemist supplies as the spellcasting focus, which, by the way, you get the ability at, like, 3rd level to just create whatever tools you need. Like, so alchemist supplies, I don't have any. I'll just create something that lasts for like an hour, or until you use it again or something. The right tool for the job. You can magically create one set of artisan tools in an unoccupied space within 5 feet. Requires 1 hour of uninterrupted work, so you have to spend an hour to do it, which can coincide with a short or long rest. So, yeah, artificers just really be working through short rests. They have so many stuff. It's like, a long rest, you can make like 3 magic items, and the short rest, you could just work the whole short rest and still gain the benefits. So they're great. Through the product of magic, the tools are not magical, and they vanish when you use the feature again. but they only vanish when you use the feature again. You can make alchemist supplies and just have infinite castings of restoration? What? You could do so a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier. It's not infinite. But if you have a maxed out intelligence, which you, again, you're intelligence based, so you should max out that intelligence. You looking at a crisp 5 castings of restoration with no downsides? That's pretty good. As long as you have alchemist supplies, which, I mean, you're an alchemist, and you should. That's, yeah, really good. Again, really good. I would say, support-wise, though it's not healing primarily. Really good though, right? So I'd give them a 9. But yeah, and they can do some offensive stuff too, right? With artillerist, do an extra D8, armorer. They get some cool attacks. Thunder gauntlets does a D8. And the creature has disadvantage on attack rolls against targets that aren't you. Defensive feat, lightning launcher. Did 1d6, but it also does 2d6 on the first attack. It is a ranged weapon though, however, with a long range of 300 and a normal range of 90 feet. Pick up sharpshooter, and you won't have to worry about that. More walking speed, and then that stealth thing I was talking about. So, I mean, not super amazing. I mean, they're pretty good. And, I mean, yeah, decent offensive capabilities. I mean, they're nice. And the artillerist is cool. You know, the artillerist is actually really good at offensive stuff. Really good, I would say. They're not the best, though. I mean, best offense goes to barbarian, hands down. So, yeah. I just realized I've been speaking for half an hour, and I'm still on Artificer, so it's going to be a multi-part series. Flavor and RP potential. I will tell you why they are the worst for flavor and role-playing potential. And it goes through this one, well, a couple of descriptions. First off, tools. Can you see that well? Tools required. You produce your artificer spell effects through your tools. You must have a spellcasting focus, specifically thieves' tools or some kind of artisan tools in hand when you cast any spell with the spellcasting feature. With this spellcasting feature, meaning the spell has an M component when you cast it, a material component. Oh yeah, up here. You must be proficient with it. So not only do you need to have thieves' tools or any kind of artisan tools that you're proficient in to cast the spells, but that's any spell. Even ones that don't require material components, you still need those to cast those spells. Again, with exceptions. Armorers can use their arcane armor. Artillerists get like a weird arcane firearm wand thing. Like they get, it's, arcane firearm. You can turn a wand, staff, or rod into an arcane firearm. as a conduit for your destructive spells. When you finish a long rest, you can use Woodcarver's tools, yada yada yada. You can use your arcane firearm as a spellcasting focus for your artificial spells. When you cast an artificer spell through your firearm, roll a d8, and you gain a bonus to one of the spell's damage rolls equal to the number rolled. So you get a d8 for extra damage anytime you cast a spell with it. But you can use that in place of the tools, right? Because it says you can use it as a spellcasting focus. But thanks to the nature of artificer spells and the class, you have to have the tools. You can't get around that. And look, as an artificer, the magic artificer, as an artificer, you use tools when you cast your spells. When describing your spell casting, think about how you're using a tool. You have to include the spells. You have to include the tools in the spells casting. Dear goodness, that is terrible. So listen, my group, don't try that bullshit with me like, oh, well, actually, my artificer's different, not a fuck he ain't. Nah, because that is required. Tools required is the literal name of the feature. You have to have them. There is no way of getting around it unless you take those specific multi-classes. You have to have artisan tools in your hands to cast artificer spells. Ridiculous. Terrible RP versatility. Already, just off that, you can't really roleplay a whole lot of separate things other than just an artificer. You could do a gunslinger, but you'd be doing a gunslinging artificer because the spells, you have to have them. But again, yes, that being able to use guns is fucking huge. I didn't stress it enough, but that is awesome, bro. Laser rifles, you see a laser rifle, you're proficient in it, right? Multi-class potential. Again, I guess that goes with flagrant RP potential, right? You can't really you can multi-class. You can take fighter, you can take rogue, and those are. Honestly, the multi-classing with marshals is probably the best bet. You can't really do barbarian. Not well, anyways. Or sorcerer. I mean, you can do sorcerer, but like it's just not going to work the same as if you did fighter. I mean, fighter, yeah, you can make your own magic items. And you don't have to worry about your DM being stingy, because you can just make your own. And that goes same for rogues. And really, I guess barbarians to an extent. It doesn't really help you that much if you're a spellcaster, though, because you just your spells alone will be enough to carry you through. So, multi-classing potential, I give it around like a 6 or so, right? Overall power, altogether, good supports, good at offense, not super good tanks, decent at stealth, and spellcasting artillery, they're a meh at best. So altogether, again, yeah, it's the type of support. It's a specific niche, the magic item niche. It just fills that niche so well that you think S tier, right? S tier niche, S tier support, but compared to all the other classes and all the different roles, and the versatility, and really, honestly, the fact that you can't cast. You have to have tools to cast your spells. That is such a crutch on role playing, because you have to describe it as a way you cast your spells. Now, yeah, sure, you go, oh, I have a little robot that I string together and send him out, but to go and cast a spell. But again, you have to include the tools. So, and it's a role playing game, so role playing is a big part of it. I can't see myself giving it a 7. But again, that niche is too good for a B. So, artificers are gonna get an A. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something.